8 months ago, I left my very comfortable job in my very comfortable apartment in my very comfortable city and moved here amongst the mountains of Harper's Ferry to begin my own healing journey. Not only did I find the tools to start my own personal healing, I built a private practice to help others find their own healing journey as well. One of the biggest tools that I have found that helps my own healing is getting outside as much as possible, even if it's a little bit cold. I am on top of the Maryland Heights Trail. I'm overlooking Harper's Ferry. I am freezing right now. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to stay up here before just turning around, heading right back down. But it's absolutely beautiful. Drop dead gorgeous. And I go up here a lot over the summer, less when it's 18 degrees outside. But I had to. I mean, it just snowed last night. I had to come up here. I had to see this. I'm so happy I did because it's just snow everywhere. It's like a perfect picture of magic and childhood and mystery and all that. I loved these hikes over the summer because you can't tell anything. You can't tell borders, you can't tell politics, you can't tell people or anything. All you can see is the nature. The trees, the rocks, the rivers, the birds, if you're lucky, a deer. It's a perfect reminder for me of the ecosystem that we're all in. It's not I-95, it's not 401ks, it's not any of the human nonsense that we are, but it's all of it together. We are a part of the earth. To me, that's what shamanism is all about. I'm not healing to be a better person or a better religion or a better X, Y, and Z. The earth is healing me, and I'm healing the earth in return. God, it's cold. But what exactly is shamanism? Shamanism is an ancient spiritual practice with ties stretching to the nomadic periods of humanity. Shamanism was practiced all over the world, from the Celts in Ireland, the Nords of Norway, and the indigenous peoples of South Africa, northern China, and Australia. The tradition of shamanism that I study comes from the Quero people of the Incan Empire in modern-day Cusco, Peru. Those who practice shamanism believe in animism, the belief that everything has a soul. This is why shamans work with nature, using herbs, animal spirit guides, in the great mountains or apus. To help me share the beauty of shamanism, I turned to my own teacher, Dr. Rachel Mann. Rachel has spent the last 3 decades as a shamanic healer, teacher, and advisor. I was blessed to be able to sit and have a wonderful conversation with her before my own healing session. I'm with Rachel Mann. Thank you so much for agreeing to do.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here.
with you. I mean, you are like one of my beloved students, and who has gone light years ahead of, where you were when you were first studying with me.
I'm touched. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's celebrate you a little bit. You've done so much on your healing journey. Can we just start off with talking about your business? What are you doing right now? All of those wonderful attributes.
Okay. I'm a shamanic energy healer, spiritual teacher, counselor, coach, and I also keep my feet in my academic career, my lifelong academic career, because I am a part-time faculty member with Atlantic University, and we offer master's degrees in transpersonal psychology and mindfulness studies. Primarily my work is in the shamanic arena. Basically what that means is that in terms of my specific offerings, I'm doing single session energy healings, and I also teach the path of awakened heart shamanism, which is basically a path, a spiritual path that I've integrated from my study with a variety of Native American teachers, the Cherokee teachings of peacemaking, the medicine wisdom of the Q'ero medicine people of the Andes in Peru, shamanism through Alberto Viodo of the Four Winds Society, and then I brought in other pieces. I was exposed to Buddhism when I was a young child by my spiritually maverick mother, and Buddhism has always been kind of a stream, mindfulness, loving kindness, meditation, and practice, and then my own healing journey and what I learned from my healing journey, healing from the trauma of narcissistic abuse by my mom. So I pulled this all together into a very powerful, humbly speaking, spiritual path. It's a holistic, multidimensional system of addressing various levels of problems. Now, one thing I want to emphasize is that I specifically do not diagnose or treat physical illnesses.
Right.
Okay. That is not to say that, I've had clients who come to me with a variety of different chronic illnesses or cancer, and one of the things they're seeking is they want to cure that illness or heal that. What I'm doing is really a kind of soul-based spiritual healing that will get to the deeper emotional, energetic layers underlying whatever that illness is, or that imbalance in the physical. And then that can allow the physical garment to come back into wholeness and harmony and balance. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the healing for like a one session, I'm coming in with chronic pain, can we do a healing?
Yeah.
Versus I want to improve my life and like the journey of a healing.
A client can come in and say they have a very specific issue they want to work on, right? In a single session. And it could be that they do have a chronic illness, or perhaps they're having conflict with their supervisor at work, or their coworkers, or with a parent or a child or something, or they're feeling themselves blocked internally around something that they want to accomplish, like a creative project. Okay. So what I do with my clients is I sit down and we talk, and I have them say, I say, what are you here to do? Right? What do you want to work on? And as I always say to the client, I say to them, so I'm going to be listening to the words and any stories you tell, but I'm also feeling into the energy of it, right? And what that means is that I am able to begin to get information through my non-dominant senses.
Okay.
I can sense things. I can have inner images, inner visions. I can actually hear words. I can feel emotions, their feelings and emotions in my own body, and I can generally get some information. The whole point of this, as I would say to you or a client, is that we're doing this back and forth conversation. I always say It may sound a little shrinky, like you're going to shrink, but what we're really doing is we're getting down to the clear intention for the work, because energy follows intention. And I want to make sure that the client is invested in that intention fully, because their investment in it, their belief that this shift can occur, is as much a part of the potency of the energy medicine as anything that I'm doing, right? Or as I say, all the helpers in the room, in the non-ordinary. And then, they can experience a very profound shift after a single session.
Amazing.
On the other hand, somebody like using myself as an example, it took me many years to heal from the symptoms of PTSD from my mother.
Right.
And a lot of intensive in-depth work. Now, I pulled on a lot of modalities, as I mentioned, and shamanic energy healing has really been the one modality I've used very consistently over the past, really, since I discovered it in the mid-2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically I can work with a client in doing a deep dive into a particular problem area, and we work over a series of sessions. And sometimes some problems that people have, that we have, require that level of depth and commitment and time in order to make a shift.
I feel like that helps everybody in the long run, depending on why they're coming. The fact that there's no one uniform way to go about this. It's based on what the client needs, the intention, as you said earlier. Specifically, I want to learn more about the tools that you would use in a session, and are there any that speak to you more than another, or what's the system?
So are you talking about tools like rattles?
Perfect. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that all of my students over the years studying the shamanic path with me is that we do not travel light, right? We have our rattles, we have a drum or two, we have our medicine bundles, our mesa, we have crystals and stones and spirit water and sage, and by the time you pack, if you're going to be a traveling healer or shaman, if you want to call it that, by the time you pack up your stuff, it's like a small suitcase, right? Okay. Why? Because, so one idea is Alberto Villoldo, my teacher, at one point said, the most powerful shamans and healers, in order to heal somebody, all they would have to do is this. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's all about the intention. What is the intention within the mind of your client, and what is your intention in your mind as the healer? Because energy follows intention, right? And then all the spirit beings that we call in, the powers, the cosmic beings of light, as I call them, of the four directions, all the ancestors in the light, the angelic beings, the guides, guardians, teachers of the client, my own guides, teachers, and guardians, the mountain spirits, they're all lined up with that intention with us, right? So this is multidimensional, as in multidimensional from this physical linear space-time continuum out and on into non-physical dimensions.
Right.
And that's that's the power of energy healing, that we're working both in this physical dimension, and we're able to open a portal wide so that all these powers and forces and guides and teachers can have their say, do their thing along with us, right? So rattles, bells, drums. A rattle, whatever I do with my rattle in a healing, is always an extension of my inner intention. So am I breaking up a heavy energy in the light body? Am I using the rattle to journey into the subconscious, the lower world of the client? Am I using the rattle to call in an energy?
Right.
So, and then there's also the mesa. You want to hand me the mesa?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Very heavy.
All right. Okay, and then in my practice, the power-packed healing tool is the mesa.
Yeah.
Which is basically a medicine bundle. And this is filled with stones and crystals that have been initiated into being power stones and crystals, or in the Quechua language, in the tradition of the Q'ero people of the Andes and Peru, who are among my teachers and who are Alberto's teachers. They're called cuyas. And so these stones are power-packed with healing frequencies. So I'm using those stones, but not just the stones themselves, but they are each connected either to a powerful transformational type of energy, or they're connected to a powerful being of light that has a particular kind of power that can be used to move heavy energies and transmute them into gifts of soul retrievals and gift retrievals. So that's the mesa.
I appreciate how everything that we're working with has either an elemental tie or a spiritual tie, but it's emphasizing the fact that we're pulling in, we're drawing in something from external, from a spirit, from the beyond, into the session, into the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really well put.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that it's also inside of us, right?
Yeah.
So we are made up of fire and water and earth and air. And spiritually, we're all one. We're all interconnected. So really, when we step into that sacred space, we're consciously harnessing the truth of that interconnection that then allows us to move with it, to dance with it.
So I'm really appreciative of everything that you're sharing, of what you do, how you work. How does your work as a healer impact not just the individual, but this larger community that we're all a part of and that we're working towards?
Yeah, that's a great question, Luke. So, and it's a question that's deeply important to me. So as I shared earlier, way back, even when I was a little kid, I was concerned about violence, and I watched the Vietnam War unfold on TV, where back then they used to do this. They would say the number of people killed and the number of people wounded that day. And that has been a theme throughout my life, is really having a powerful passion to end violence, the kind of violence that we're used to, that we become numbed out to and used to in the 20th and 21st centuries, on a scale that is unprecedented. And that includes authoritarianism, which is a form of violence. Dictatorship is a form of violence. Racism, sexism, prejudice and discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community, and all the ways of othering others. So I've had a passion in particular in creating programs and courses that deal with the problem of racism in U.S. society. How does this link into the spiritual and healing work that I do? I've always somehow had an understanding that violence in all of its forms, from subtle to overt, has an energetic and spiritual dimension. Because I've always known that human beings, we are spiritual beings, essentially, right? And spiritual healing is often the place that people end up going to. Like they may starting with physical illness, trying to heal physical illness, or getting an illness or disease like cancer, and it becomes a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
But what I also understand from the hundreds, thousands of times I've journeyed to extract the wound, the trauma wound, that is negatively affecting a client's life, is that those trauma wounds are shared.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, a soldier who's gone to war who has PTSD from war, think of all the millions of soldiers on the planet who've experienced those same things. And that actually is a vibrational field of experience.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that when I'm healing an individual who has been a warrior and has trauma from that experience, I'm actually contributing to the healing of all warriors, and not just in this time, but back through the ancestral lineages and into the future. I believe that the more people who engage in healing their trauma, the more people do that work, we're ultimately contributing many generations into the future and beyond to a world of greater peace.
I'm very excited to actually do a healing session with you.
I'd love to do a healing session with you.
Before we dive into that though, is there anything that you would like to promote in your own business or what you're doing right now that the people that watch this will be able to be like, yes, I want to work with Rachel, I want to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, people can always sign up for a single shamanic energy healing session. I also do teach the path of awakened heart shamanism. That basically, you can initiate your mesa. You get initiated into connection with the ancient lineages of light, the different lineages that I mentioned that are part of that come through my teachers. And one of the things I want to make sure to say is I really honor my teachers, Native American, shamanic, and Buddhist, and otherwise, particularly Native American teachers who have offered generously their teachings and their wisdom traditions, their healing traditions, despite the fact that, you know, people, my ancestors, really tried to destroy them and they're still up against a big fight. I do that, and when you do that class, you get initiated into the Mesa tradition. Then you can, if you want to learn the tools of the shamanic energy healer as I practice them, you can take that program as a second step. And then I also have a program that's really not specifically shamanic, although all my shamanic tools and practices come into it, which is called Unlock Your Soul Calling. And that's integrate your spiritual wisdom, creative, intuitive, and healing gifts into service to others. And the reason why I'm doing this is there are a lot of people awakening right now who are awakening to the fact that they have been called, they've had a longing in their hearts to be called to service, using the wisdom of their gleaned from their own healing journey, their own spiritual study, and they want to somehow help others. And it's a program that helps people really understand the longing and then gain confidence that they can move forward and get clear about what it is.
Rachel, thank you so much for this conversation, for sharing your wisdom and your experience, and I'm just so touched. Thank you unconditionally.
Luke, I am so grateful. I mean, for stepping into studying to be a powerful medicine person, medicine man, healer in your own right, who is also interested in healing the world and helping people with all your gifts. And I'm also really grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you and to share some of my thoughts. Yeah, I'm just so happy, and I'd be happy now to give you a healing.
Perfect.
All right?
All right.
You ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay, Luke, so thank you for interviewing me. And now you get to sit in the hot seat.
Ooh, fun.
And you're now my client. So basically, this is the intake portion of the session. And as I shared earlier in the interview, we're basically speaking, and you're telling me what you're here to work on. And I'm listening to the words and the stories as much as I am feeling into the energies. And I'm gathering information. And I may be asking you some questions to kind of clarify things, or because there's something energetically that really pops to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we're going. And so I'll ask you questions to go deeper into that particular issue or statement you made. And then ultimately this will all come around to creating the clear intention for the work. And then we're going to take that intention, and I'm going to have you get on my massage table fully clothed, and I'm going to go to work on you energetically. So what do you want to work on today? And this is real.
Yeah.
This is not made up. We're not, because I can't engage with Luke without it being real on an energetic level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me what you're here to work on.
This is a new chapter in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I want to work on the transition from saying goodbye to where I was and saying hello to
Mm-hmm.
the shamanism and this series and
Mm-hmm.
everything on that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I've felt both joy and insecurity, even just building this trailer and the pilot episode and all that sort of stuff. There was plethora of reminders of the rejections that I've experienced in the past, especially artistically. So I would like to be able to say goodbye to all the rejections, so that way this can be fresh, we can start new, we can go forward.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more, like give me an example of a rejection, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I am and I was an actor. That was what I was trained in, that's what I grew up in, and basically as soon as I moved to Maryland, fresh off, I only served other people. I haven't been able to act for myself.
Okay.
So my very first acting gig, and that was my first professional, and about 3-4 weeks into that process, the director pulled me aside and they said that I'm fired. They're willing to have me be a background character, but the pay is going away. It would be more of an internship opportunity rather than an actual role. And that was just the first bit. Ever since then,
Right. So what do you think happened? I mean, were they unhappy with the way you were playing a character, or do you feel it was just kind of a random, like the director took a disliking to you, or somebody in the company? I mean, what was the atmosphere around that?
Yeah. So she has a reputation for not being the kindest human being in the world.
Okay.
You can tell that she has a lot of wounds herself, and she carried those wounds into her work environment.
Okay.
We did have a disagreement on how the character should be portrayed.
Okay.
But even then, there was still, like, I remember very strongly, an actor was about to trip over a chair. I moved the chair, and she yelled at me for moving the chair and helping the other actors and stuff like that. So it was a mix of, we didn't see eye to eye with the creative process, and then just this pattern of artists and actors who were wounded in their original development as an artist, and then passing that wound on to the next generation, and that was a cycle that
okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So tell me how you feel about the launch of this new phase or new turn in your professional and work career. I mean, what are the, what is it that, I guess what I'm trying to get to is like, the positive feelings. So you've talked about the insecurity and kind of that feeling of being pulled energetically into that place where you had that first rejection. And that what you're telling me is that in a way, kind of in the way that you got hurt by that or wounded by that, it was a wound to your self-esteem as an actor and your sense of self-confidence as an actor, right?
Yeah.
But then what is the excitement or the hope for everything you're now launching?
I feel in my heart of hearts that this is an opportunity to use all of my tools, everything that I've worked on, and I have so much joy about possibly helping other people see this path and be able to go down this path, and I feel really strongly that it will be a beautiful journey of community building and of connection and genuine authenticity that I haven't felt for a while.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to do a little energy track.
Okay.
So I'm just going to rattle here, and I'm reading your energy because this will help me get to feel the deeper issues underneath the story and the presenting problems. Okay. Okay, so I'm feeling this tension between the words that are coming to me is softness versus hardness, or softness versus strength. Okay? And so knowing you, firstly, but also what I'm picking up is that you have a very deep softness and sweetness that's part of your personality. And it's also what makes you an empath. And that quality of empathy that arises out of your ability to, in a way, merge into or with a character, or to feel into and connect with a client is a gift. But there's this contrast, like your description of that particular director, is that what her energy is very hard, and because of whatever her traumas and wounds have been, her personality makeup, she deals with people in this very harsh way, right?
Right.
And so the wound is around, can I be powerful, empowered, strong? Because, hardness can imply like imperviousness, a lack of empathy, right?
Right.
Okay. But strength in its positive sense is that I can be strong and decisive and directive, and at the same time have that be balanced with and harmonized with the part of me that is sweet and soft and empathic and warm, giving. Okay? So the center, the wound really is around this, is how do you, when we've been wounded by people who use their power and authority improperly, right, and harm us by doing that, then we can be in an unconscious rebellion against it, or like unconsciously we're held back because we're like, I'm never going to be like that person. Okay? Does that sound accurate for where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does it feel right on?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. So that's the intention. So we're looking at really getting to that wound, which may be that one incident. It could be others, both in this life and other lives. Possibly. We'll see what comes up. And then really the transformation of that into that beautiful blending of both energies within you, because you have that strength also in you. You have that directorial view and ability. You have both of them. I'm not saying you don't have the other, but it feels like to feel confident stepping forward, there's a wound about that, so that you can access that energy more directly.
I would love that.
Okay. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
You got it. So let's get you on the table.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
After I lie on the table, the first thing we need to do is set the intention together. We do this by thinking about the conversation in the intake interview and blowing that intention into one of Rachel's mesa stones, specifically the stone representing Apu Machu Picchu, who rests in the Western Lodge. This lodge represents the wounds and the shadow.
Great. All right, and now I want you to start that circle breath.
From there, Rachel tests my chakras, using a pendulum to see which ones are out of alignment.
I'm testing the first, the second, and they're doing fine, which basically means the chakra is spinning properly. Your third chakra is out. Your heart is definitely closed down. Your throat is open but could use a little help. Your third eye is open. And your crown chakra could use a little help. All right.
She uses additional stones to help pull negative energies from these chakra points and help balance them.
Open the third eye and shift you from the small mind to the big mind.
We bring positive love light into the space through prayer, calling upon my guides, teachers, and guardians to be with us today. It is my job to stay committed to the intention, to breathe this loving energy into my body and exhaling the negative.
In, through, and around all that is, Mama Kia, Mother Moon, Inti Taita, Father, Son, Star Nation, Sisters and Brothers, great cosmic beings, luminous teachers of light, angels and archangels of the highest order. Oh, Humphrey, 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 come in, come in, come in. Beloved ones, precious ones, how much we love you. We call upon you to pour your light into the mind of your beautiful son, Luke.
Rachel does 3 different prayers calling for support from the upper world, where Spirit and the Divine Parent resides, the middle world, where we as humans dwell, and the lower world, or the gateway to our subconscious. After each prayer, Rachel offers a gift of cleansing spirit water through the traditional way of spitting.
Aho, Wadum. I'm now going to sing the Cherokee heart chant to connect our hearts to the heart of all the cosmic beings here present, our hearts to the heart of creation, and our hearts to one another. And I say a prayer.
While Rachel sings the Cherokee heart chant taught to her by her indigenous teachers, she examines my luminous light body, the energy field extending around my physical being. During this time, she may find energetic crystallizations or blockages that need to be cleared out.
Tishna Tishna just relax. Tishna We call upon Luke's beloved I Am presence, his higher self, his guides, his teachers, his guardians, his ancestors in light. We love you and thank you for all the beautiful ways you help and support and guide your beautiful son. And we welcome you here into this medicine space. Come close, come near, and support and assist him in releasing old wounds of insufficiency, that he may step forward from this day on, walking with confidence and courage into the manifestation of his new work as a healer, as a messenger, a thought leader of light in the healing realms, that he will have his empowerment and authority and know himself to be the embodiment of his vision. And we thank you. Is that a good intention, Luke?
Yes.
A little convoluted, but we got it.
She will use her rattle to start this cleaning process. First, she will break apart any large blockages into smaller, more manageable parts. With these blockages broken down, she is then able to guide the negative energies down the spinal column and out in any way it can. The best exit ports are the feet and the hands, but sometimes she will ask me to cough the negative energies out.
Helping it release. Yapan, yapan, open up, open up. Hey, hi, ho.
A shaman uses the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and wind as healing tools.
The sage to begin to cleanse and clean the energy body, the chakras.
Since in this session I am dealing with sadness and disappointment, Rachel will use fire and smoke to contrast what we call the liquid energy of the session. Rachel is using the rattle to open the chakras that were addressed as needing work in the beginning of the session. This action with the rattle will help pull the negative energies through the chakra points and released into the earth. At this point in the session, Rachel felt my liquid sadness and energy sitting in my chest.
How you doing?
Besides using smoke and fire, she will ask me to help move that sad negative energy out of my body.
So what I'm now doing is I'm feeling into the deeper strata of the energy body to see what may be the heavy energies that are moving in it. And what I'm feeling now here is there's a lot of like occluded energy in the lung area, which feels like a lot of sadness and disappointment, the energies of sadness and disappointment. Do you feel that? Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this crystal and I'm going to put this crystal in your left hand. And this is an extraction crystal, right? And so I'm going to bring some more fire and heat into, and also the stone is working on it first in order to begin to break up that energy, okay? So I want you to deepen your breath work. Like really, like you're breathing out all that feeling of disappointment and guilt and shame and sadness about that one incident that you shared in the intake, and also about any other way in which you've been let down or disappointed, okay? And the way you've internalized it, like something is wrong with me, okay?
As we work, that negative energy is traveling down to the extraction crystal, a tool used to pull out and contain heavy energies held in the body. My breath acts as a water pump to help the flow of energy down and out.
And the chant is calling up the energies of creation, harmony, balance. Okay, we're going to breathe all of that into this crystal. Hang on, let me take the crystal from you. Loosen your hand and your fingers. I'll hold the crystal. Okay, breathe that all into the crystal. Come. Okay, now it's beginning. It's almost like a kind of ice, coldness. So we're melting it here with the fire. Come to the crystal. And now I'm going to journey into your subconscious, the lower world, to extract the wound. Okay.
When she feels that we've cleared the bulk of the negative energy, Rachel will use the rattle to travel to the lower world, the land of the subconscious. There, she will find my inner wound ready to be extracted using a larger extraction crystal. Using the crystal, her rattle, and a Cherokee healing chant, Rachel will call upon the wound to be extracted into the crystal, which she will release into the earth after the session using spirit water.
How are you doing, Luke?
Cold, but good.
Okay. Do you need a blanket?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Loosen your wrist, loosen your arm. Okay. Chew. All right, so what I'm seeing is after extracting those experiences of rejection, what I'm seeing is you, and like you've got, I'm seeing you kind of in a corner, hunched over, and you've gotten, like the Ents in the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
And how they have all these like tentacles that are connecting them into each other and into the earth and the stones and everything. And I see you with like that kind of woody attachments to you. But it's like this part of you has turned to wood.
Okay.
because some part of you just froze, right? Up in the face of those experiences. So I'm going to be removing, using this stick to clear that out of your energy field. We're going to be removing that. So at some point I'm going to have you shake your body, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start peeling off the layers, okay?
Sometimes it might take some effort for the client to feel ready to let go of the original wound. While in this case, Rachel is using her staff and my shaking, she also has in her tool belt additional drumming, rattling, bells, and fire to help a client be ready to free themselves of this wound.
Shoot! Shoot! Shake. Shake yourself. Shake yourself. Shake your arms. Shake your hands. Ha! You're loosening it up. You're kind of letting go. Like those rejections didn't have anything to do with you. It's over. It's gone. You are not that person anymore. Let it go. Let it go. Shake, 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 shake. And I'm shaking with you to help shake the energy off. Right, right, right. I want you to cough. Open your throat. Say like an opera singer.
With the wound removed, Rachel will then journey to find a spiritual gift to take in its place. Sometimes, in addition to a spiritual reminder or an invitation, Rachel will find a soul part, a piece of myself long hidden because of that original wound.
Doing the soul retrieval. So the soul retrieval, I want you to breathe in. I'm seeing this part of you that's like the Kung Fu master. And I want you to breathe that in.
And that's it. After Rachel has completed the soul retrieval, she will journey back into the middle world. She will ensure that the chakras that were open during this session are closed and rotating in the correct direction. And she will illuminate my light body using the spiritual guides and guardians from the upper world, specifically Great Condor Eagle, to shed spiritual light into my luminous light body, ensuring that my light body is fluffy and new.
So I just breathed in your highest destiny line, the fulfillment of your dream and vision. To be creatively successful. To bring so much wisdom and knowledge to the world. We thank all of Luke's guides, teachers, guardians, his ancestors in the light, his I am presence. We thank you for being here, and we love you. And we pray that all the healing that we have done here be for the benefit of our families, our communities, our human global family, Mother Earth, and all our relations. That all beings will live fulfilled, happy, joyful, free, safe, liberated, and at peace. May it be so. Aho, Wado. How do you feel?
Wow.
Oh!
Wow. Yeah, that was. That worked. That worked so well.
You're like the kung fu part of you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, that warrior aspect I love.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, I still felt the stones on me. I thought they were still on.
No. No. So why don't you swing your legs here over the table?
Yeah.
And scooch over, and we'll just talk a bit. So tell me and your audience what you noticed.
Oh gosh. Where to begin? the unraveling. I felt everything melt away. Like it was a very literal representation of like, okay, here's your skeletal, here's your nervous, and then just the light body first.
Yeah.
And then I felt cold, which we talked about in the session. It felt like a sheet of ice.
Mm-hmm.
And like each of the stones felt like ice cubes for a moment there, and then the fire got brought in, and that transitioned to an evaporating. Like everything was
nice.
just evaporating off, which was a very fun feeling. And then the drumming came out, and that's when the warrior energies, that's when I felt the most. I started seeing, which was new and interesting and fun, but I saw a indigenous, in my head it was an indigenous prince, but it was like the son of a tribal elder or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just, saw a map pointing towards like the southwestern area, but just like for some reason that was being called, but it was just, it felt like the polar opposite of the ice. It was, here's warm, here's desert heat, here's all that.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I told you everything that I did,
Yes.
so I don't need to add anything.
Right.
Yeah. So, homework. I would say practice doing this kung fu move thing.
Okay.
Right? Like just bring that energy in
Yeah.
and then enact it physically.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah, with vocalization.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like also reclaiming your voice.
That speaks home. Okay.
Yeah, that voice of authority, that voice of power, right? The voice of the actor,
Yeah.
right? I don't think you need the sea salt baking soda baths so much, but
Okay.
to do those if you're feeling like there's more heavy energies being released
Right.
in the next several days, but you may also just go off from here today and be like, "Oh!" Okay?
Perfect.
All right.
Thank
Yay,
you.
thank you. It's been great.
It's been-
Thank you.
Gosh.
Fantastic. Thank you for,
All
honoring
this.
me with your stuff and the interview and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all my best of luck to you.
Thank you. And
Yes.
right back at you.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, let's unpack. It's been about a week since the original session. Right after, the next day, I felt immense is, ugh. I felt pain. I felt soreness, like post-workout soreness, right in my chest and my back, which makes 100% sense because that's where I kept my sadness and my grief. That's where Rachel did most of the work. That's where the ends with the roots were hooked in. It was all right there. So just like we go to the gym and work out a muscle, of course there's going to be soreness there, and it went away after a day. The message, though, that was the tricky part for me. So right after, I was fixated on that contrast between softness and strength and aggression, hardness. I took it as an embracing my softness, which is fair. I'm an emotional guy. I recognize that. But it's so much more because of that warrior aspect. It's not just saying embrace the emotion, embrace being soft. It's saying you can use that softness as a power. You can step into your divine light and still be soft. You can reach your highest potential without having to oppress someone else. And that's the big game. That's the part that's really exciting. Because if you think about it right now, I'm an hour away from DC. There's a lot of pain right now. There's a lot of aggression and strength and combat, and not in the best energetic light possible. It makes 100% sense to go and do crazy things like storming buildings and fighting and anger and violence. But using that softness as a tool, as a weapon, as an opportunity for growth and development, can you imagine the joy we can bring? Oh, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be so amazing and exciting. So that's what I've been working on. How to use all of me, who I am, to step forward and to help bring these opportunities of soft developmental change, where yes, we are going to change, we are going to grow, we are going to love and have joy and peace and all that sort of stuff. And we can do it without stooping to the levels of aggression and hardness and anger and all that. There's one more thing that I want to share that's focused on who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and all that. In my lessons with Rachel, she taught me that the definition of a modern day shaman is someone who might be from the Western world, but is listening to the traditions, the lessons, the morals of our indigenous leaders. And they are taking those lessons and ingraining them into themselves to make the world a better place. I'm going to be spending my life as a student to be able to help spread this joy. I don't know where I'm going next, but I hope you join me for the ride because it's going to be wild. I'm really excited. Thank you for all that have come, all that have watched, all that have celebrated with me. And aho wado.